ICS3C lesson 1_4. Um, Finally, we're going to get a little formal note going on the stuff you've been learning on Code Academy, and I hope it's not too tricky. You're doing okay. Um, you've retrieved this file. You should be looking at this file somewhere, and maybe it'll look like you've got two copies, one on the video and one that you're going to be editing yourself. The reason I've used Smart Notebook instead of some other word processing document is that I wanted to include this picture, and I wanted to be able to draw on top of this picture, which is pretty easy in Smart Notebook. You might have a different other drawing program that you like, and you're welcome to use it, I suppose, but you'd have to figure out how to open this Smart Notebook file in there. I suppose you could just copy that picture into Paint or something like that, but that's okay. First of all, I want to just sort of connect up. There's the file, right? This is what we typed. This is our typing, the skeleton, and then this is what it produces. And I just want to connect the things that it produces. So I'm going to use my pointing tool here, my line, and I'm going to put arrows on both ends of it. And so what goes where? Well, the title, where does it go? It's right up at the top, right? You see that? That's the tab, the title of the web page. The stuff in the head, this is kind of like the head of the web page, and that goes there. The body is kind of the rest, and I'm not going to use a big swoop here to show you, but this is the body. That's the body. A heading for the body, of course, is right there. And we realize this H1 stands for headings, and we'll talk about tags and get a note there for later. And notice the paragraphs. Paragraphs are points. What you could think of that as P. Okay, P, paragraph, or points. Right there. This is my first link. Now notice it got cut off, but I wanted to mention here the website itself, and I've got the actual website here, the actual file here. The word link isn't the actual website. The word link is the thing that you would click on, right? And we'll make a note of that soon. But in here, that line is right there, right? That line's right there. And of course, we also figured out how to include images right there, images. And in fact, we figured out how to have images that you could click on. And this is all parts of the things that we're going to do. So, Dandy, I can see those connections, and hopefully you're understanding that one leads to the other. And I'm going to sort of make notes on the next page. Just click here to get a next page. And I'm going to click and start typing. If I'm going too fast, again, you can pause the video. Tags we know so far. Well, what ones do we know? The very first one, of course, is this one. And that's the very first line of all web pages, right? Every web page has that first line. I'm going to make this font a little bit smaller so it'll fit on one line. I hope you're okay and you can read that. All right, what else do we have? Well, bunch of ones that are kind of self-explanatory, right? There's the HTML tags. HTML. And remember, we must have, and I'm goofing around with this, but opening and closing tags, right? Where the little slash shows where it's ending. And of course, you saw in what's nice about one of the nice things about Notepad++ is that you can see the scope of each of your tags. When I click on one of them, it highlights the other one. So they are title to title, H to H, P to P, and so on, body to body, HTML, and in fact, I can open and close that stuff. So if I don't want to look at the head anymore, I can just close that, and that's pretty nice feature of Notepad++. So dandy. Okay, what else do we have? We've got a few more that are easy, and we've got the head and body tags, right? And you're sort of messing around with these, seeing whether you had to have a body, you have to have a head. Could you leave out one of these tags? By the way, could you leave out one of these tags? And that really depends on the browser. Some browsers you can do that. We saw the P tags, open and close P tags, where we can do some typing inside. And the way I think of these ones, that was a tilde, right, which is up in the upper left-hand corner of your keyboard. I think of them as paragraph, or you could think of them as point tags. You in the text we read goes between them, right? What else? Well, we saw the headings, and I'm not going to write all the H headings. We realize that as as this number gets bigger, the heading level gets smaller. The font, right? So H5 or H3, that's a smaller font. Okay. What else? Well, we saw A, and why is it A? Well, the way that I think of it as an anchor for a link to another website, right? And we saw that, and I know you don't have this in front of you, but the pictures on the other one where we had the link to it was actually to our Husky homepage, where open that up so we can actually see it, where they have the start and end tags there. Of course, that's for a link, but we need the href equals, and in quotes, whatever web page you want to link to in the opening tag. So it goes in here, right? I'm going to tab that in so it looks okay. And notice I'm running out of room on this page, but that's okay. Another thing about the A tag is that the text between A and A is what will be clicked on. And hopefully you figured that out, or you understood that. You know, the link that we're going to was www.stratfordnorthwestern.ca, but the page itself didn't have that on there. It had the word link. Did you notice that? I wonder if I've got it up here still somewhere. Right? Yes. So notice the word link is the one that looks like it's a link. And then down underneath, down here, if you look down here, that's where it will go if I were to actually click on that. Okay? It's a little bit strange, but not bad. Okay, do we have any other ones? Not really. And by the way, these will come fast and furious in the next couple of days, and you probably might even know a few more um, because you've done some other HTML and other courses. Some people have said, and that's fine. We'll get going further soon. Um, so again, because it's nice to have an example here. The href goes in here, equals www.whatev.com. and then here is the text, and then the end tag, right? And hopefully we're used to that already. Uh, Again, if I'm going too fast, pause. Notes. I'm going to change the font so I can actually see the most of my notes on the same screen. First of all, these tags, maybe we should have put these in there. These tags are comments, right? Just like that. That's the opening tag for a comment, and this is the end tag for a comment. Okay? So this is the first note. And we actually saw, nice if this stayed as 24 font. I'm going to put that over there, make this look nice. In my example, there was several lines of comments, right? So this is the opening comment, and it's the HTML keeps looking for this end one, because it's not going to do anything with what's in between. So if we were to forget that, it would think that the whole thing is a comment. So there's a common error, by the way, ladies and gents. So don't do that. So why do we have comments? Well, they're very important, and you have to include them. I'm going to change the font on this thing for once and for all. There we go. So we can include our info, like our name and the purpose of the web page and etc. Date. More importantly, it's used to split up sections of your web page. And by the way, this isn't just in HTML. This is in all of the programming you'll ever do. Comments are so important to be able to read them. Make your code easier to read and understand. Okay, so that's important. And by the way, you're taking all these notes down, please and thank you. You're not just reading them. You're taking these down. Note number 2. Indenting. It does not show up on the web page, but makes your code easier to read. And so this is a convention that we must follow. Okay, we have to do that. Otherwise, you'll go nuts, I'll go nuts trying to figure out what goes with what. All right? So that's my second comment. Notice what I mean there is this indenting. I actually put that in there. It would be exactly the same web page if I did it like this as this, but this is a lot easier to read. Okay? And in fact, even if I were to put an indent in here, it looks like maybe this would be a way to format text, but if I save this, I'll show you. Save and then reload that. It's still, it has nothing to do with the format. It's going to take whatever text and jam it on the left-hand side. We can't actually force the stuff in there. I suppose we could try and put some spaces, but I think the web page would cut that off as well. We'll get to formatting soon. Don't worry about that. But we have to indent, please and thank you. This looks like garbage. I'm a little bit picky the way my notes look like. You don't have to be so picky. Indenting. The next thing I'm going to talk about is nesting. And I don't mean about birds. There's no birds involved here. Nesting is when we put tags inside other sets of tags. And nesting happens not only in HTML, but all programming languages. You sort of put code inside of other code, and it's called nesting. So, and in HTML, usually this is where we can mess up. So this is good. Right? Open tag, then I got to close my A tag, and I know I didn't put an href in there, but I don't really care about that. This is good. And the way we could, and a bad would be if I try and close one before the inside one is closed. So it starts off the same, but if I tried to close my paragraph before I close my reference, this would goof up. This is wrong, error. And the way I like to think of it, because I'm kind of a math nerd, is that it's kind of like brackets, right? Where I'd have the outside brackets is like the P, then the inside brackets, and then I have to close that round bracket before I get to the square bracket in math, where there might be math stuff in here, right? But this one would be like square bracket, round bracket, and then closing square bracket, and then closing round bracket. It's all goofed up. It just does, this is garbage as far as math is concerned, and this is garbage as far as HTML. Okay, so that's nesting, and I think that's all I'm going to say. But we've got lots. Oh, I forgot one of our main funsy tags. So go back to your tag page, please. What was the one I forgot? This is maybe the most fun one. It is IMG, the image, getting pictures on our web pages. And SRC stands for source equals, and then whatever the name of the picture is, .whatev.com / whatever the picture name is, and that's how we include that. End quote, and then end tag. What's weird about this? This is to include an image. Did you notice this? The image tag has no end. There's no end tag. Which is a little bit strange. But often, this image tag is nested inside either a reference, right? You could put it in a reference there, so you could click on a picture, or inside a paragraph or point. And I think that's what I did on here. So the image, I just sort of listed it, but I could have nested that inside an opening and closing point if I wanted to. Okay. There. Little longer video than I wanted to, but it's good to have a note. Please save this up in your Unit 1 HTML notes folder, and then I think it's assignment time. I think you've got an assignment there to do next, or you're back to Code Academy, and that is up to you. But please remember to save this first. I'm going to do it too. Save as, and there's my skeleton one that you downloaded, so I'm going to call this one done. You can just resave it. That's all I have to say about that.